The Washington Commanders have a new kicker, EB. His name is Kade York.
Well, he's battling.
Well, he's still a new kicker.
That's true.
I'm not saying he is going to be the starter.
The guy.
But they have a new kicker. They started with the Aziz guy. Then they had Riley Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
They had those two guys battling. Now they got a new kicker. His name's Kade York. Played for the Cleveland Browns. He was actually a fourth-round pick, which is rare for kickers to be drafted that high.
If you watch college football, he was a really good kicker at LSU. He was second-team All-American at LSU. And then, like you mentioned, he was a fourth-round pick.
2022 for Cleveland, he was 24 of 32 on his field goals. So he missed 8 field goals. If you look at the misses, 3 of them were over 50, where he was 4 for 7. He was 6 for 8 and 40 for 49, 9 for 12, and 30 to 39. So he clearly has a big leg that he hit 4 50-yard-plus field goals. The ironic thing is, who beat him out in Cleveland?
Dustin Hopkins.
Right.
Yep.
Hey, we got the league is
and maybe that
with our guys.
mentally killed York because apparently last year in the preseason he really struggled because they acquired Dustin Hopkins, so he's battling with Hopkins for that job. Ultimately, Hopkins wins it, and then he went to the Titans practice squad, and then I think briefly to the Giants. But and then he went back to Cleveland. So yeah, Kade York traded for a 7th-round pick, correct?
Yeah, I mean, they give up a pick, even though it's just a 7th rounder. That's an asset.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a real good shot at sticking.
Yeah,
he's got a real good shot at sticking. I don't know.
So they didn't release Riley.
No, I bet they alternate reps.
Yeah,
and they see how he does under the gun,
under the pressure, right?
Keim reported yesterday that Patterson went 5 of 6. The only one he missed was a 53-yarder, and he made, I think, a 58-yarder.
Yeah, in practice.
Yeah.
800-636-1067. You can always call us on the MGM National Harbor Listener Lines on an open line Thursday. Our training camp coverage on 106.7 The Fan is presented by Paul Henry's Window Installation, paulhenryswindows.com, your clear home improvement choice. I'm going to bet Riley Patterson will be cut next Tuesday.
The writing is on the wall.
I mean, could you imagine if they traded for Kade York? Now, it is a 7th-round pick. You're putting value in the 7th-round pick.
They do have value. They don't want to give those away.
Yeah.
Could you imagine, though, if they make the trade, which is today, Thursday, he plays in a preseason game.
And they cut him? The only way they cut him.
And then they cut him?
Only way they cut him is
if
he
goes basically just gave away a 7th-round pick.
Well, if he goes 0 for 2, he might be cut.
Yeah.
But
I think that this spells doom for Riley Patterson.
It's not great for Riley.
It's not great.
And Dan,
but he knows the deal.
Coach Quinn was nice to him on the sidelines and kind of pumped him up and said he would come back, and he did. And on the show, hopefully you heard our interview with Coach Quinn earlier this week. On the show, I thought he was somewhat supportive of Riley Patterson, talking about how he hits him in practice and all that stuff. But deep down, you can't trust the guy if he's missing 3 field goals in the preseason.
But like you said, York, even though he's only been in the league a couple of years, in the 1 year he had, his numbers were pretty good. I mean, he was 35 for 37 on extras. And then, all right, so 24 of 32 is not great, but if some of those are, long ones, I give him a little bit of a pass. But the next preseason, he struggled.
That's the thing with kickers is, there is no doubt in my mind that when Riley Patterson or whoever, and these guys with NFL experience, when they're locked in, and they'll be fine. But they're like golfers, and they go through stretches, and he's just in a tough stretch right now. And it could be mental, but it also could just be like he doesn't have his technique
Well, it could be a
locked
technique
in.
thing. That's what Quinn said,
Yeah, it could be a technique thing, and he just doesn't have it locked in right now. And they just, life isn't like you never just have certain physical things just locked down forever.
And just think about, there's a lot of pressure on kickers. There's a lot of pressure on kickers. They're only on the field a few plays a game.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're in huge moments, and you got to be locked down. And, guys like Justin Tucker, who's going to the Hall of Fame, he just has great technique, and mentally he's just sharp. He just knows what he's got to do, and he does it. Some of these other kickers, they can't do it, even though they were great in college.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. But it looks like York's going to be the guy.
Yeah, he's going to – I think he'll be the guy, barring – if he goes 0 for 2, I wouldn't put him past him to, stash him on injured reserve or something.
Yeah.
the new guy. The new guy can't come in here and shank a couple.
No, I agree.
They'll bring in another person.
But I don't think he will. I think he's going to be good on Sunday.
I don't know. All right, let's go to.
And again, it kind of depends on how many opportunities you're going to get. I mean, you're playing backups. I mean, are Driscoll and Trace going to be driving the team down the field the entire game? How many opportunities are you really going to get? I hope they do. But
what's up with Mariota?
You just don't know. I don't know. He had an injury. I don't know where he stands. I just assume he wasn't going to play this week.
He was practicing last week before the preseason game. I think both he and Hartman.
So Hartman was too, but
I feel like there were minor injuries.
Well, they were.
They are, but
Hartman got a shot in his shoulder, so I don't know. I wouldn't play him if he's getting shots in his shoulder.
Hartman, they're going to 100% stash. They gave him a bunch of money, like for a free agent. They're just 100% going to stash him somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Look, I think that trading for Cade York should make Commanders fans feel better. 800-636-1067, because it's an unsettling kicking situation.
It is. But
And
what if they brought in?
The games are going to be close. We've seen statistics. Even Dan Quinn brought it up himself that there's a majority of the games are decided within a score, and then there's a percentage. I think it's right around 20%, which are decided by a field goal or less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have a reliable one, and it's hard to come by. It really is. Those teams that have reliable kickers that have been there forever are so lucky.
Unless you have one of those guys, you're always going to be uneasy. Like, they were even talking about bringing back Sly, but apparently Sly's taking the lead in New England. I don't even know how I'd feel about that. Because I thought Sly, who's a veteran, was dicey.
Yeah, he was. There were some moments last year where you'd say, well, I don't think he's going to make this.
Right.
And they weren't 57-yarders.
All right, it's open. Well, that's the one. I thought he would make the longer ones. It was the 30 to 40 ones that I was nervous about.
Yeah.
All right,
but if you look at the field goal percentages last year, I mean, there are a lot of guys now. This is what worries me about Kade York. So I brought up the long ones. He missed 3 over 50, but I think he was only 75% in that one season. Right? So overall, he was 75%.
Yeah.
There's out of 38 kickers, there's only 6 guys that were 75% or less, and they were all like fill-ins. I mean, the vast majority nowadays are well over 85. I mean, there were 12 guys last year who were above 91%.
Mm-hmm.
So 75% is nubs.
If you get a guy who's 90%, just locked in.
But there were 12 of them last year.
There were. I mean, Butker, Aubrey, Folk, Boswell, Jake Elliott, Chase McLaughlin for Tampa.
Folk missed 1 field goal.
Zerline.
And it was over 50. Fairbarn missed 1 field goal. It was over 50.
Mm-hmm.
So anything under 50, those guys nailed them. Brandon Aubrey was 36 for 38, and I believe he missed his last 2 field goals against the Commanders, right?
Right. Can I tell you something?
36 for 38.
Going back to another conversation we had about like dome or open air. Give me a dome so I can know my kicker is going to be balling out from
Hit some long kickers.
Yeah.
Aubrey hit 10 over 50 last year. 10 for 10.
Do you know what a weapon it is when Dallas has a guy that could was it Dallas that kicked a 66-yarder? Yeah. Like it was nothing?
Dude, he was 10 for 10 over 50 last year.
Yeah. I mean, get him on turf in a dome. I mean, it's like shooting fish in a barrel for these guys.
Butker, 5 for 5 over 50.
Drab, I'm all in on a dome. I'm out on the elements.
Of course.
I'm out on the elements.
Think about this.
That's childish.
Think about this. What? Justin Tucker has been in the league 12 years. I think this is year 13, Valdez. You would know better than me. I'm just kind of counting here. In his career, he has missed 3 field goals in his career in 12 years inside 40 yards.
Automatic. It's crazy.
3.
I know. Guy's a legend.
And inside 50 yards, if you add the 3 from inside 40, he's missed 16. So in 12 years, he's missed 16 total field goals inside 50 yards.
You know that that when you talk about him or any Raven, that Valdez. It's like you're talking about one of Valdez's children.
What was his reaction when I said that?
Yeah, just could see the pride.
He's missed 16 total field goals in his career.
It's very good.
He's great.
He's a hoffer.